I got a comment for a recipe request, and the recipe request was from Rebecca Wyatt, and she said, hey, can we get a fresh pasta video? Keep up the good work. And thank you, Rebecca, for your lovely comments, and thanks for watching and tuning in. Yes, I will make a fresh pasta video today. Going to be making a lemon and ricotta ravioli. I've made it before. It's so simple, it's fresh, it's creamy from the ricotta. It's just the buttery sauce as well. So it's going to be, we're going to have the fresh pasta or ravioli. Inside the ravioli is your ricotta filling, and around that you're going to have a butter and sage sauce. So I've tried to go for something simple where you don't need a lot of ingredients to put it together. The bulk of it is some eggs, 00 flour for fresh pasta, ricotta cheese, salt, pepper, and some lemons, and that's pretty much it. The butter and the sage as well, but you can skip the sage as long as you have butter. Yeah, let's get cooking. So when it comes to making fresh pasta, you actually have options. You can either choose to use 00 fine pasta flour, or you can choose to use semolina durum wheat flour, the fine kind, or you can actually just combine both of them. Traditionally, when I've just made fresh pasta, I've just gone with the standard 00 flour. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm going to measure out about 200 grams of my flour. Pour down my board. So this is where I'm going to be doing my kneading. And I'm sure you've probably seen this on TV. If you haven't, I'm just going to make a well in the center of my flour. Essentially, I'm going to break my eggs in the well. And the reason for doing that is as I start to knead the eggs with the flour, the idea is I'm not utilizing all the flour. I'm incorporating the flour as I go just to get a feel of the consistency. I might not actually use all the flour on the board. I might actually use everything, but that's the idea. I'll be breaking 2 eggs in there in the middle. We've got some eggs running loose. So, and that's it really. I'm just going to start breaking the eggs apart. It might not look like much now, but because you have water in the eggs, the flour will naturally start to absorb all that water. And as I knead, which I actually learned from bread making, so I use the back of my hand here, this section, just to stomp down my dough. I then fold it and then turn, and I just repeat. And obviously you can always use a machine as well, but I think when you're learning how to make something like this for the first time, I would always advise you use your hands so that you can get a good feel of what it takes to make something, and I think you appreciate it a lot more as well. Yeah, so we've got our fresh pasta dough. If you've got cling film or a plastic bag like this, I'm literally just going to put this inside. The idea now is the dough to rest in the fridge. I'm going to let this rest for roughly 30 minutes or more. In the meantime, while that's resting, I'm going to make my ricotta filling. I'm going to utilize my same workspace. I'm literally going to zest my lemon, so I have 1 lemon here. Okay, so I've got my lemon zest in my bowl, as you can see over here. And I've got about 250 grams of ricotta cheese, which I'm going to scoop inside my bowl. I'm using a fork just to break down the cheese. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, some black pepper. I've seen some recipes say you can also add like Parmesan cheese to this. We've got a nice lemon green color in there. with the cheese. Our dough is now out of the fridge. It feels softer, easier to work with. I'm going to roll out my dough, and for that I've got my pasta machine. If you do not have a pasta machine that's on the end of the world, you can definitely use a rolling pin. Obviously that just means more muscle power in there for you to just roll out your dough. First things first is to put just a little bit of flour on my board so that the dough doesn't stick. I am going to slice it in half. Before I actually put the dough inside the pasta machine, I'm going to just put a little bit of flour on top. Reason being, it's going to run through the machine and I do not want the dough to actually stick on the rollers of the machine. We're going to do this a few times. I'm starting off on level 0. Then changing it to level 1. Okay, so I've got my beautiful pasta sheets and I've taken out my ricotta cheese mix from the fridge, and I'm just going to add a teaspoon right in the center. And I'm going to repeat that about 4 or 5 times, leaving just a little bit of space between each ricotta filling. At this stage, I'm just double checking. I'm going to use a ravioli stamp to cut out our pasta. If you don't have a ravioli stamp, you can definitely use a pasta cutter. I would have actually preferred that, or you can use a knife. Straight line across, doesn't really matter. You miss out on the beautiful edges, but yeah, c'est la vie. I need to work quickly because I don't want my pasta sheets to actually dry. It feels a little bit dry at the moment. What I'm actually going to do now is to moisten the pasta sheets with a little bit of water. Then the second half of the sheets, literally just fold it on top. I'm just going to make sure that each section of the sheet is separate. Now with the pasta cutter, that's the first one. Once this comes to a boil, which it already has, then add some salt. Gently simmer each parcel inside the water. I'm going to very carefully take out each parcel. Okay, so now onto our butter and sage sauce. I'm going to add roughly about a tablespoon of unsalted butter in a pan, as well as a few sprigs of sage. I'm actually just going to tear them. Just give it a good mix and let the sage almost wilter down from the heat of the pan. Yeah, so the color of our sage is changing. And at this point, add in our ravioli. Tiny bit of salt. some black pepper. Smells, it's almost like the butter is caramelized, the sage is gotten crispy. As you can see, I'm treating myself today. I've got a nice glass of Chardonnay here from Australia. I don't know which one I should have first. I'll go for the ravioli. Yeah, the pasta is nice and soft. I'm just going to cut into it so we can see the filling inside. Hopefully you can see that nicely. That's good. Yeah, this is a great way to start a weekend. Why I love this recipe is there's nothing complicated about it. Ricotta cheese in itself is already great. You then add that freshness of the lemon zest, and it just brings it up a notch. A little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper, turns it into something else. Something nice and creamy and not too rich at the same time. So the lemon almost brings down the dish to a level. You then add a different dimension or a different layer through the butter, like a different kind of creaminess with the sage as well, almost giving it a sign off. The pasta is nice and cooked. I can't wait to stop recording this so I can get out of here. I'm going to try the wine. Actually has a nice body in it at first, then mellows down, which is interesting. Hope you enjoy that. If you have any other requests, anything for me to try out, it doesn't necessarily mean I know how to make it. That's the whole point of cooking and baking. So thanks for joining me again. If you like this, always leave a like. If you love this, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great week.